Hello, world. Eden here, and welcome to the Stronger Together channel, where my goal is to cultivate a supportive and enriched community for early career women in data science. The subjects we talk about on this channel are specifically designed to provide meaningful advice and tools to help you be more successful in your career as a data scientist. And today, we're going to be talking about the why and how of negotiating in IT. So we'll do 3 whys and 3 hows. Let's dig into the why. So, the first big reason that you want to negotiate is that you're likely to get anywhere from 10 to 30% higher pay if you do negotiate. And in some cases, I've even seen people double it when it comes to equity. Second reason is that you don't want to look up one day and realize that you're underpaid. In my particular area, women tend to get paid anywhere from 5 to 20% less than their male counterparts. And that's pretty demoralizing, frustrating, and I don't want that for you. So live by my experience and do yourself the favor of negotiating. The third reason why is that it's much harder to get good raises in the company after you get hired to make up for that loss. Sometimes companies will put a cap on how much of a raise you can get. You're kind of competing with your peers. And in most cases, there's just a pot of money that's designated for salary adjustments, and there's a maximum to that. So it's very unlikely that you'll get more than 10, 11% raises year to year. So it's much smarter to come in at a higher rate, even if you're only going to get 2 to 3% increases annually. All right, so that was the 3 whys. Now we're going to go into the 3 hows of how you actually negotiate. Tip number 1, do your research on both your current market value for your specific skill set, the company and their pay bands, and the cost of living in your specific job location of where the job is being offered. So let's go back through those. So for understanding your current market value, I highly recommend PayScale as opposed to Glassdoor or other tools. Feel free to mention other tools below if you feel like they're better, but PayScale did an amazing job of asking me really detailed questions about my specific skill sets, like down to computing languages, softwares, years of experience being an actual count value instead of just a range of 0 to 5. There can be a big difference between 3 and 5. So that would be the way to go, to just understand what that actual value is. The second part to that one is the company and their pay bands. If it's a smaller company, they're not going to publish that information, but the bigger companies will. And so they'll tell you what level they're bringing you in on. And so you want to know what that range is of what you can ask for in there. In addition to that, asking around, if you find someone who's actually working in that company, search them on LinkedIn or shoot them a message, just ask them for their time. Most people will be pretty happy to speak to you about that and give you some advice for a reasonable number to ask for. It's really a very delicate conversation to have. You don't want to ask for too much or too little, but cost of living is another aspect that'll have a significant impact there. You should be getting paid more if you live in California or Manhattan as you would in Ohio, for example. And the second tip here for the hows is don't tell them your number that you have from your PayScale research until they tell you their offer first. Now, why is that? So let's say you've got $100,000 in your mind and their initial offer out of the gate is 120. So they would have taken that 100,000 probably if they would have lowered their initial offer. You definitely don't want to do that. So and if they come in lower, then you have the chance to go to ask for an increase. So you're really win-win situation there. And tip number 3 on the hows is that you'll have a much bigger range to play with if you're being offered equity as part of your compensation package than you will on the salary. So I've seen, as I mentioned earlier in this video, people getting double and triple the amount of equity than what they were initially offered in their first offer. And it's also in the company's best interest to do that because it's incentivizing you to stay longer in the company. Usually those vests happen throughout the course of 4 years. So it's really in both of your best interests and you'll be thanking yourself for that equity later on. So in addition to the equity, you can also make up for some of that loss in equity with what's called a signing bonus. A recruiter might ask you, are you losing any money with your switch? And so that might be losing equity because you haven't done the 4-year vest at your current company. Or in some cases, some companies don't provide their contribution to your 401k until December 31st of the year. And if you're leaving like right before that, you can say, hey, I'm going to miss out on like $10,000 by coming to your company. Can you help me make up for that? And so a signing bonus is a good way to do that. So that's it. Those are the 3 whys and 3 hows of negotiating. I hope you got a lot out of this video, and I hope that you negotiate to your next salary. If you didn't, no worries, you can do it on your next one. But the final ask I have for you today is to respond to the survey that's going to be linked below in the description. I'm doing a bit of research for myself just to see where some of the needs are in terms of trying to close this gender pay gap. And so I've got a questionnaire. It's just one question of your gender and if you negotiated or not. I'm interested just for myself and kind of industry research to understand some of the reasons why there is this pay gap. And so this is certainly one aspect that could influence that. So if you have time, I'd love to hear your response on this survey, and please post any comments below on other factors that might be helpful for negotiating from your experience that other people might benefit from. All right, that's it. Let's stay stronger together, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.